Ooh, I cut my hair. And just in time for Halloween, because what could possibly be scarier than change? Hi, hello, my name is Dino, and I tried beating Pokemon Violet using only spooky Pokemon that only know spooky moves. Here are all the moves that I'm allowed to use, and here are all the Pokemon that I'm allowed to use alongside them. These aren't all of the Pokemon that I would deem to be spooky TM. These are just all the Pokemon that were either a Ghost, Dark, or Bug type, could learn at least 3 of the aforementioned moves by either TM or level up, and then pass my extremely critical vibe check. This is a hardcore Nuzlocke as well. Here are the rules that I'm following on screen, and I'm kind of on a time crunch for this video, so for that reason, we're only doing Victory Road. Be sure to jump scare that subscribe button and tell me what you're dressing as for Halloween in the comments. This year, I'm dressing up as the scariest thing you can find in the modern day and age. A white guy on Tinder holding a fish carcass in his profile picture. Ooh. Enjoy the video. Rawr, white woman jump scare. My spooky journey begins while I am downstairs in the kitchen with my mom and the doorbell rings. It's too early for trick-or-treaters though, so I go to tell them we don't have any candy, but instead, school. I bolt in the opposite direction of my responsibilities and practice my trick-or-treating path for this year to my friend Nimona's house. Unfortunately, when I arrive, the school headmaster is there waiting for me and offers me my choice of 3 Pokemon. I choose Fuecoco and name him Fueghost, because Fuego means fire and Ghost means is ghost. I thought it fit well. Nimona invites us to battle, and this is where we run into our first roadblock of the playthrough. Which does not inspire confidence, I gotta say. So, couple issues. 1, Fueghost has a terrible nature, and 2, he doesn't know any spooky moves, and I have no way of teaching him any. So I forget as many non-spooky moves as the game allows me to, and I begin my trick-or-treating a bit earlier than expected by picking up an antidote off the ground. If you use a healing item on a Pokemon that doesn't need it, which I am allowed to do, note that the rules say no beneficial items in battle, the item will not be consumed and your turn will be wasted. So I began spamming the same antidote on Fueghost as Nimona's cat slowly whittled his health down. And man, the AI really doesn't want you to lose this first fight. As soon as Nimona saw the KO with Scratch, she just kept using Tail Whip until eventually my defenses were all the way down, and only then did she put my poor little Fueghost out of his misery. If you're wondering what happens when you lose this battle, the game progresses as normal, but almost too normal. Like, Nimona complimented me on my battling skills, and like, did we not just watch the same battle? Also, if you're like, whoa, Dino, buddy, this is a Nuzlocke and you just wiped to Nimona. True, but I'm pretty sure that there's an unwritten rule somewhere out there that says that a Nuzlocke journey doesn't begin until you are given Pokeballs by the game, which I have not been given yet, but I have now, so Fueghost days are officially numbered. We have another couple fights coming up before I can really get any spooky mon with spooky moves, and after considering my options, I decided that the best plan of action would be to level up Fueghost to level 12 where he learns Bite, and then just figured things out from there. And so I went around auto-battling anything that dared breathe in my vicinity. And don't worry, Fueghost isn't using any non-spooky moves when auto-battling. He only knows Leer right now, and you can't kill a Pokemon with Leer. What you're seeing right now is Fueghost just practicing his Bite until he's mastered it. Many deaths and one piece of Halloween candy later, and we're finally able to progress the story. Also, you might think that's a waste of a rare candy, and that's because it is, but I needed like 225 more points to level up again, and each Lechonk gave me about 3, so by doing this, I actually saved the lives of 75 Lechonks, so you're welcome. Plus, Fuego seems pretty happy about the extra candy. Oh god, he has a sugar rush. Oh no, sugar crash! Nimona and I head to the lighthouse, and we get into a small kerfuffle with an angsty teen, battle him, he didn't even get a hit off, and then steal his lizard bike as a prize. Haha. We climb the lighthouse, share a nice little moment together, and then I got a little distracted. Wow, the water looks beautiful. I wonder what's out there, beyond the sea. Cooper, do you think maybe Fueghost? Fueghost! Fueghost, did you see that? Oh, that wave totally took me for a dive. Hey, what's wrong, buddy? I mean, I know you've got a naturally pale face, but you look as though you've seen a ghost. Hey there, demons. It's me. Ya ghost. I am officially Ghostbit Dino, that is me, that is my name. I have speedrun the 5 stages of grief, sub 20, new PB, no biggie, and I'm ready to continue this challenge. I went to a mass outbreak on my map, and it just so happened to be a Charcadet outbreak, and it'd be kind of cool to have a shiny on the team for this playthrough, so... Yeah, okay, we will not be shiny hunting Charcadet today. Full transparency, I did bring my living dex in from home and then back out again so we could have the charm and hopefully get a shiny teammate, but yeah, this regular old Charcadet will have to do. Also, I named her Carver because because when she grows up, she's gonna have big old knife arms, which will be perfect for pumpkin carving. Night fell pretty fast and brought with it a spooky level 15 Murkrow that already knew some spooky moves. She was also way too hard to catch. Luckily, she just kept using haze, so eventually I caught and named her Necromancer. Because puns. There were also some Shuppets in the area, but they were too high level for the next gym, so I opted to come back for them later. Speaking of, we have a gym mission to complete because I have nothing better to do in my afterlife, and my team is already at the perfect level to fight. I began preparing for the gym by fixing up my team's movesets, and by fixing up, I mean... And then I thought it would be nice to have some Oran berries for the gang to hold on to, just to be safe. But despite my best trick-or-treating efforts, I couldn't find a single one. The only surefire way to farm them at this point in the game is to steal them off of Wild Gulpin. And luckily, I'm allowed to use a move that steals items called Covet. But I don't currently have any Pokemon that can learn Covet, so I set out to find an Eevee because they learn it at level 1. Also, we're in South Province area 2, one of the few places on the map that Eevee can spawn. And yeah, maybe its Pokedex entry does say that it's rarely seen, but like, come on. How rare could it possibly be for the luckiest person in the world? So I spent about an hour running around South Province Area 2 trying to find a wild Eevee, but that didn't work. So then I tried resetting the mass outbreaks in hopes of finding an Eevee outbreak, but that didn't work. So I gathered what ingredients I could, and I made a normal encounter power 1 sandwich, and then tried resetting the outbreaks, and I got the Eevee outbreak. So you'd think that'd be the end of this torture, right? Well, it's not, because the outbreak had managed to spawn right inside the olive court. So when I went over there, there was not a single Eevee in sight, even with my encounter power sandwich. So I tried resetting some more, and then running around some more, and then resetting, and running around, and resetting, and running around, until finally, I found 2 Charmod shiny Smoliv standing right next to each other without an outbreak or anything before I found a regular Eevee. But you want to know the best part? I found an Eevee, eventually. Caught and named him Nightmare because that is all he has been. I went to farm Oran berries off Wild Gulpin. It's about a 15% chance to get one with the berry and without sticky hold. I finally acquired one, and then as if this Eevee has not been enough of a stress in my life, it gave me a small heart attack because when I went to nab the Oran berry off of Nightmare, it just wasn't there. It was there in the battle screen, and he didn't eat it, so where did it go? Turns out he just popped them into my bag for me. Oh, I gave an Oran berry to everyone except for Fuegos because Katie's Tarantula has Bug Bite, which will steal and consume your berry, and I don't want to give her that satisfaction. But just to make sure he could take the spider out all on his own, I went and found the TM for Crunch and taught it to him. Maybe a bit overkill, but I don't want any of my babies dying on me this early. We start the battle, and I lead with Necromancer, since I want to keep Nightmare as healthy as possible to deal with the Teddiursa. Necromancer manages to whittle the Nimble down, and I let Tarantula eat her Oran berry before switching into Fuegos for the KO. The Teddiursa comes in and gets Fuegos down quite a bit, but we're able to fire off a swift crunch that lowers the bear's defenses before switching into Nightmare. It's time for my Master Berry-centric plan. The switch in gets Nightmare down to half health, prompting him to eat the Oran berry, which then activates Teddiursa's pickup ability, giving her an Oran berry as well, which would be worrying except for, you know, Covet going and stealing it off the bear, giving us another Oran berry for free. We survive the next hit on just 4 HP, our new berry bumping us back up to 14. Pickup activates again, and while the Teddiursa is low enough to actually eat the berry this time, between the defense drop from Crunch and adaptability boosting Covet's power, it simply wasn't enough to save it from becoming a ghost itself. And right after the battle, Fuegos evolves into Crocolore. The new level cap is 17, so I head back to Artazon to catch a Shuppet in a Moonball. How exciting. Her name is Doll, but spelled like that to be edgy and cool. Oh wait, aha! Now they all have lines through them. It's definitely too much, but I kinda like it, because they look like Stitches, and you know, she's a puppet. She's a doll. I love her. I then got a little sidetracked, finding some friendship berries to feed Nightmare, and stumbled upon this. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, be a doll and eat the berries. Oh my god, is that a shiny? Holy shit, it is. Mystery Bus, gotcha! Your name is Berry Juice. Oh my, that's a terrible nature. But that's fine, I guess. She's over the level cap anyways. We got a shiny Mischievous, and I named her Berry Juice because the scent of my berries drew her in, and I was singing the, one of the Beetlejuice songs. Also, her hair kind of looks like Beetlejuice's, which, I totally noticed. That was on purpose. She is over the level cap for the next fight, but that's okay because I was really only over here to get a bunch of friendship berries for Nightmare so that he would evolve upon leveling up. And he did! We have an Umbreon now, spookiest evolution. But Nightmare isn't the only one to get a glow up because guess who found a Dusk Stone to evolve Necromancer with? But then I immediately over leveled her while auto battling, which gave me a strange sense of deja vu. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's a boy. So, well, it's not Meepo, but is very cute. Everyone meet Omid. This is Meepo's little brother. He's not going on the team, although he does kind of look like a spooky little pumpkin guy. Anyways, back to the gym. The plan is to go trick-or-treating for some Sunflora, show up to the battle court, and that is as far as I got. Fuegos crunches the pedal a few times, and it goes for sleep powder, but misses, which is fine. It just renders the chesto berry that I packed kind of useless, but whatever. The pedal falls, most of my team gaining a level in the process, which was totally planned. I definitely meant to do that. And Fuegos isn't in danger of dying to the Smoliv, so I have him take that out too. Sudowoodo comes out, and even though it has Rock Throw, it almost always goes for Trailblaze first, so I keep Fuegos in and crunch, hoping for a defense drop, but no dice. That's okay though. I send in Nightmare as the Sudowoodo misses a Rock Throw, granting me a free switch. It keeps going for a resisted Trailblaze, allowing us to KO the stupid Rock Log thing with a couple more crunches. Success! Iono's gym is up next, and it terrifies me as always. She's always the gym leader that I struggle with the most, so if I am to get through her deathless, I needed a foolproof strategy. I began trekking my way up the perilous path leading to Alphanata and crushed every Sinistea I saw into perfect porcelain chips. The voices in the wall began whispering. I traded the chips in for the most cursed armor set of them all, and I evolved Carver into Silverledge on the spot. I tracked down another Dusk Stone and threw it a Berry Juice, prompting her to evolve as well. And I brought everyone up to the level cap before running to the nearest Pokemon Center and selling anything and everything of value in my bag. I bought every held item that I thought might be of use, gave them to my Mon, and at last, I was ready to face Iono. I lead Carver into Iono's Watch Roll and swiftly take it out, no issue. Luxio's Intimidate drops Carver's attack, but it barks way louder than it bites, so 2 hits is enough to take it out from there. Bellybolt terrifies me because each time we hit it, it gains more power due to its electromorphosis ability. Ideally, we want to OHKO it, or at least get its attack as low as possible, and I want to send in Doll to lower its defenses with Screech, but I'm afraid she's too frail to take a hit. So I send in Berry Juice to lower its attack as much as possible with Growl. We get it down 3 stages before an unlucky paralysis, but I'm still not confident that it won't kill Doll, so I take a risk and I keep Berry Juice in to see if we can Growl it one more time. The Bellybolt takes her down to 4 HP, and she gets through the paralysis to hit it with Growl one more time. I bring Doll in at last, and the freaking frog goes for Water Gun, which is a special move that doesn't pay attention to the physical attack drop that but it's fine, it doesn't do too much damage, so I stay into Screech and get taken down to 20 health. And then Screech misses. Uh-oh. Things are starting to go downhill, and I was gonna switch out again to prevent another death, but then I remembered that I'm the luckiest person alive, or well, I'm the luckiest person in existence. Anyways, Doll's Quick Claw activates, solidifying this fact, and Screech connects. So at least if she does go down here, we got the defense drop. Water Gun hits, and Doll lives on 3 HP. I bring out Carver, and with the Belly Bolt at -2, Shadow Claw is able to take it out in 1 hit, no crit necessary. Finally, Iono sends out her big bad Mismagius, but I came prepared for this, and I switch in to Nightmare. Not only does Nightmare have great special defense, but I also taught him Snarl, which deals damage along with lowering the Mismagius's special attack every time it hits, resulting in it dealing almost no damage to Nightmare. That is, if it manages to get a hit off at all. I got so lucky during this final stretch of the battle. Nightmare kept snapping out of his confusion, causing the Mismagius to go for Confuse Ray instead of attacking, and it didn't even get her anywhere because Nightmare didn't hit himself once. And just 2 crunches later, we had defeated Iono with no deaths. With Iono out of the way, I am feeling confident as ever. So confident that I'm heading straight to Kofu to take him on because I fear no man. But Kofu sure fears me. He's so scared of ghosts that he fled all the way to Puerto Marinada at the mere sight of me. His grunt tried to satiate my thirst for battle with a couple of Aqua Jets from his Floatzel, but it wasn't enough. I metaphorically corner Kofu in a metaphorically dark, metaphorical alleyway and send out Necromancer against his Veluza. I go for Night Slash, hoping for a crit, but I don't get one, and I finish it off with Astonish. In hindsight, I should have gone for Astonish first in hopes of a flinch, but it's fine. Wugtrio comes out, and I hit it with a Scary Face to lower its speed by 2 stages, to ensure that Berry Juice can outspeed it. I accidentally go for it twice though, causing Necromancer to get hurt more than normal, but she's still alive, so I go on with Berry Juice. 2 Dark Pulses faint the Wugtrio, and our speed isn't lowered by Gooey, leaving just the Crabominable we have to deal with. This thing likes to spam Crabhammer, a 90 base power move with a high crit chance, so I growl to lower its attack and pray for no crits. I bring out my bulkiest boy, Nightmare, to continue the growling. I try going for Crunch to see if that does anything, but it doesn't, and Nightmare is now at 10 HP. I need to switch him out, but I don't know with who. Necromancer, Berry Juice, and Doll all die to just about any attack from this thing, as well as Carver and Fuegos, as they're both weak to water. Even if they could all survive a regular Crabhammer, there's no way they're surviving a crit, and pros know you always play around the crit. Finally, I decide to switch in Necromancer. She's the healthiest of my strong, non-fire type Mons, and she has the leftovers item, so maybe she'll be okay? I switch her in without taking a second more to think, and Crabhammer connects, killing our beloved bird. Necromancer is no more. I am faced with the same dilemma again. Who do I switch in after her death? And I land on Carver. The Crabominable's attack is pretty weak, enough to where Carves can survive one hit, even if it is super effective. And she outspeeds on the next turn, which solidifies our victory as well as the rest of the team's lives. Way to keep me grounded, Kofu. Antagonize the beast and it shall attack. Rest in pixels, Necromancer. If only whatever foreign force resurrected me could resurrect you too, but ow. What's this? Necromancer, you've gone and gotten resurrected. You look a little different than normal, but you are here, you are alive, and you're technically a different species now, so I guess that doesn't violate the rules of the Nuzlocke, so welcome back to the team. Time to prepare for Larry's gym, as it's the next house on our list, so to speak. I start with the usual, level everyone up to the cap, finally evolve my starter where the land meets the sea, you know yourself. Doll still isn't able to evolve, by the way. And I've decided it's time to find some new team members, like this Zorua that's dressed up as a fungus for Halloween. Looking a little sus there, my friend. I call her Trixie, but spelled like that since she's the Tricky Fox Pokemon, and also trick-or-treating. Zoroark is kind of a mixed attacker, but Trixie's timid nature has declared her a special attacker, which works out well because she can learn Night Daze, an 85 base power move with a 40% chance to lower your opponent's accuracy, a move the Zoroark line shares with only the legendary Lunala. But she won't get that move until level 40, and we have to keep her unevolved until then, so she's going in the boxes for now. In addition to Trixie, I also caught Bogey the Impidimp, Burlap the Mimikyu, and a level 40 Grievard we can't use until Rhyme's gym. His name is Wax, which I thought was funny because the common name for dogs is Max, but this way it's like the M got flipped upside down, much like, you know, someone turning in their grave, and this dog is dead. Also, wax is what most candles are made of, and this dog has a candle on its head. Jokes are funnier when you explain them. I was gonna replace Doll with one of the new teammates we just caught since I don't want to risk her dying, but then I realized that she's the perfect Pokemon for Larry's Komala. In fact, my whole team was practically built for this gym. Observe. I lead with Doll, who, thanks to her ghost typing and insomnia ability, is unable to be put to sleep with Yawn or hit with Slam, leaving Komala with only Sucker Punch, which could hypothetically hit us, but Sucker Punch only works if the user is readying an attacking move, and that's why I taught Doll Curse. Curse deals a quarter of your opponent's health every single turn, and it's considered to be a status move, causing Sucker Punch to fail. From there, it was just a matter of screeching to stall out all 4 turns, or all 5 turns, of course, until the Dunsparce was out. I then switch into Mismagius, a ghost type with Levitate, making Glare the only move Dunsparce can use against us. And yeah, it does paralyze us, but that doesn't matter. This thing can't touch me. She can go for Hyper Drill as much as she wants. It ain't gonna do anything. Can't glare me either. What are you gonna do? Paralyze me again? It doesn't matter that Berry Juice was unable to move due to paralysis every other turn. We could do this all day. And down goes the worm. Finally is Staraptor. I switch into Carver, which I did not mean to do. I kind of brain farted there, and she almost died when I tried to make the most of it, but she's fine. I pivot into Nightmare, the intended assassin for this bird, as he's equipped with a rocky helmet and also Moonlight. I growl first to lower Staraptor's attack, and I'm so glad I did because that next facade totally would have killed. But after that, it's pretty smooth sailing. I just had Nightmare spam Moonlight as our rocky helmet slowly but surely escorted the Staraptor to an early grave. After the battle, Doll evolved, and she is such a doll. The name is fitting. I love her so much. Rhyme's gym is next, and things have been pretty smooth sailing so far. Terrorizing the living has been a breeze, but Rhyme doesn't specialize in the living. She's a ghosty girl, which means that most of my team is weak to most of her team. And like, yeah, she's just as weak to me as I am to her, but it still scares me. It's a ghost thing. You wouldn't get it. But anyways, new gym, new me. First order of business, level everyone up to the level cap, including Trixie. Don't let her evolve though. Why are there 4 Blissies on my screen? I thought you lot were supposed to be rare. Trixie, no. Okay, now you can evolve. Also, I evolved Bogey and Wax because why not? I rocked up to Rhyme's stage, anxious as all heck, and initiated the battle. I lead with Nightmare and Trixie, dressed up as Berry Juice, as they're the only team members not weak to Ghost. Sucker Punch breaks Trixie's costume, but she still fires off a Night Daze and does that much damage. Holy shit! I forgot I gave her an Expert Belt, which boosts super effective moves by 20%, so that's why she's so freaking strong. Nightmare's Rocky Helmet gets some chip damage off on the Mimikyu, and a Dark Pulse properly breaks its disguise. Rhyme then sends out Houndstone, and the crowd gives us a boost to our offenses for some reason. And then the exact same thing happened as last time. Night Daze Oko's the dog, Mimikyu chips away at its own health, and Dark Pulse brings it down a little bit more. And then we do it again. Night Daze Oko's Toxtricity, and 2 more hits from Mimikyu puts it 6 feet under. That was the gym fight I was probably the most scared for after Iono, and it was honestly probably the easiest. And we have the type advantage against the next gym, so I just leveled up my team as normal, switched up the items a bit, and immediately challenged Tulip. I lead with Trixie, once again with her Expert Belt disguised as Berry Juice, Mismagius, and take out the Farigiraf, Gardevoir, and Espathra with no issue, particularly because the Gardevoir went for Psychic, which we're immune to. I switch out once Florges hits the field though, because it has a monstrous special defense stat and a very, very strong fairy move, so needless to say, I'm a little bit scared. I want to switch into Umbreon, but if it uses its fairy move, it's totally just gonna kill him. So I bring out someone else who can take a hit. Fueghost, and he takes the Moonblast like it's nothing. I'm pretty sure Florges will go for Psychic here since we resist its other two moves, but I Snarl just to make sure and also to lower its special attack. I make a safe switch into Nightmare, who is immune to the incoming Psychic, and the special attack drop from Fueghost allows us to live 2 Moonblasts and win the battle with no deaths. I definitely wasn't playing around the crit there, but we won, and no one is any more dead than they were going into the battle, so it's fine. That leaves us with one more stop before the Elite Four, the Ice-type Specialist and GNC icon, Grusha. Speaking of Ice types, everyone meet Dryce, and now meet Dryce again. I named her after Dry Ice because I see it used in spooky Halloween decorations a lot, and also she's, you know, an ice type. Also, look at how well the lure ball matches her coloring, even down to like the yellow lines matching her eyes. It is perfect. It was made for her. I'm in love. I also caught this Sableye named Shadow, but with an E to be quirky, and I then tracked down the much stronger Dark Ghost type Spiritomb, and then it fainted itself. All right then, no Spiritomb for us, I guess. Okay, new team, actually more thought out this time, and here goes nothing. I lead with Burlap, his first appearance in a major battle since we caught him. Shadowclaw does a little less than half, and the Frostmoth sets up Tailwind, allowing it to outspeed us on the next turn. It breaks Burlap's disguise with Bug Buzz, and we fire back with another Shadowclaw, but it doesn't quite kill, so we Shadow Sneak on the next turn to finish it off. Beartic comes out, and I have Burlap Shadowclaw again, and uh-oh, time to switch out. I switch into Carver, forgetting that this thing runs Earthquake, but I guess it all worked out because I got a free switch into Necromancer this way. I lick to paralyze the Beartic, as I'd like to go for Hex, and while it does get me down to below half health, I know we outspeed, and Hex takes it out the next turn easy. So Titan is up next, and I switch into Nightmare, who can take a hit better than anyone. I growl the thing down to -3 attack, healing with Moonlight along the way, and I begin chipping away at its health. I don't want to have to worry about switching once the Altaria comes in, so once the Titan is in the red, I lower its attack to -6, and then switch into Dryce on an expected Ice Spinner, taking 9 damage on the switch and triggering her Snowball to raise our attack. A simple crunch sends the beached whale 6 feet under, and finally, his Altaria is out. We crunch, doing about 1/3 of its health, but then Hurricane takes us down a lot, so I switch into the next tankiest mon I have, Fueghost! The first Hurricane was fine, but the second did a lot more damage than expected, and it confused us. Luckily, Fueghost was able to pull through and fire off a Snarl, lowering this thing's special attack, allowing me to switch into Carver. Hurricane takes her from 100 to 63, and I reckon we can take another hit, so long as it's not a critical one. Why would I say that? A Shadowclaw doesn't quite kill, and thankfully the next Hurricane doesn't crit nor kill us, so Carver is able to outspeed on the next turn, winning us the battle and allowing us to pass on to the Elite Four. Now, once upon a time, the Elite Four and Champion were a gauntlet of sorts. You couldn't switch teams halfway through. Whatever Pokemon you entered with, you fought with until your dying breath. And personally, I'd like that extra bit of challenge, so once I enter the Elite Four, I'm locking my boxes. I've decided that the best team to bring into the league is Fueghost, Carver, Nightmare, Dull, Burlap, and Necromancer. It's gonna suck not being able to use everyone in the final home stretch, but I think this way might be a little more interesting. Rika leads Whiscash as I send out Fueghost. Whiscash only runs special moves, so I snarled a bunch to keep its special attack low enough to where a super effective Earth Power did nothing to me. The Whiscash falls and is swiftly replaced with a Donphan, who I send out Nightmare for. I growl to lower its attack, and it gets a crit, which scares me, because it ignored the drop in attack. We live though, and comfortably outspeed, so I promptly heal up with Moonlight. I do this a few more times, growl and then heal, until I have her down to -5 attack. And then I just snarl it down to nothing as Camerupt hits the field. I go for Snarl again, but if it's not 100% accurate, it's 50% accurate, so it missed. But Fire Blast doesn't do that much damage, and we crit on the next turn to make up for the miss. It hits us with a Yawn, and I heal up with Moonlight, so I can take as many hits while asleep as possible. I figure it's just not worth it to switch out right now, and Nightmare can take hits all day, so we're fine. We wake up, fire back with a Snarl, and heal once again as it goes for Yawn. And I do the same thing again. Heal in case we get crit, and then enjoy the death simulator. We wake up faster than last time though, and hit another Snarl before pivoting into Doll, who has Insomnia, which grants us a free switch, letting us take out the Camerupt and be in full health when the Doug trio hits the field. I go for Curse, predicting it to use Sandstorm, so this way we don't have to worry about Sandveil accuracy issues. And I send in Burlap on an Earthquake, breaking his disguise. A second one gets us down quite a bit, but it's nothing to be worried about between Curse and Phantom Force. Finally is the Claude, and I bring out Necromancer, because this thing's strategy is to Toxic Stall, and Necromancer is immune to poisoning. But she also has Levitate, so if the Clodsire goes for Earthquake, we'll still be in the clear. She predicts me though and goes for liquidation, which I wasn't expecting, but already then. I was gonna curse, but then I was like, no, she has no reason to go for protect here. I'll just shadow ball and not risk anything. But then Rika surprises me yet again and goes for protect. I can't tell if she's really bad at battling or just really good at reading me. Like, who gave this bitch tarot cards? I successfully land a shadow ball, but I don't know what to expect on the next turn, so I just switch into Nightmare, who will be fine no matter the circumstances. It goes for liquidation, getting hit by the Rocky Helmet in the process, and I growl to lower its attack. It poisons me, but that's fine because we have synchronized, so now it's poison too. From here, it's basically a stall fest. I heal up with Moonlight, switch into Carver to waste turns with Phantom Force, and the Clodsire goes down to its own poisoning. And everyone's alive! Barely! I'm quite proud of how that battle went, but we've still got 3 more people to beat before the champion, so I healed up my Pokemon and continued on to Poppy. She leads with Copperaja to set up spikes, as I get a lucky Shadow Claw crit with Burlap. I go for Phantom Force on the next turn, hoping it finishes the job, but alas, it does not, and our disguise is busted. Shadow Sneak always goes first though, so I use that to finish the elephant off. Magnezone is up next, and I figure it's gonna set up a light screen, so I'm safe to Shadow Claw, and that's exactly what happens. I don't trust Burlap to live a hit though, so I bring out Nightmare, and man, I am not a fan of those spikes. Snarl does almost no damage thanks to light screen, but it does keep the Magnezone special attack low, so it does almost no damage right back. And eventually, its screen fades, and we're able to take it out with another Snarl. She then sends out Corviknight, and I switch into Necromancer. It goes for Iron Defense, which won't help it at all, and 2 Shadow Balls plus its own recoil is enough to take it down. Next is Bronzong, and I bring in Nightmare on a predicted Zen Headbutt before healing up with Moonlight. I growl once to ensure I stay at high health, heal again, and then Snarl before letting it faint to my Rocky Helmet. And finally, Tinkaton is out, so I switch into Fuegos because we resist the oncoming Play Rough. I try to get the paralysis off with Lick so I can then outspeed and hex it into oblivion, but Stone Edge takes us down a lot, and then we don't get the para, so I desperately need to switch. I weigh my options carefully and figure that Doll isn't weak to any of her moves, and she's at full health, so I send her in on a neutral Stone Edge. I go for Phantom Force hoping we outspeed, but then this little pink menace hits Doll with a Gigaton Hammer, killing her instantly, which hurt a lot. I switch into Carver because I figured she had the best chance of living a hit and outspeeding than anyone else on the team, and the stones take her down a quarter of her health. We don't outspeed, and Stone Edge connects, Carver barely hanging on at 24 HP. So if we don't kill the Tinkaton with the next hit, that means Carver goes down too. Carver goes for Phantom Force, and I think Doll hit Phantom Force with her in spirit because she got a critical hit, killing the Tinkaton, avenging Doll, and winning us the battle. But it just doesn't feel like a victory without Doll. I was so fond of her, and even if she wasn't active in most fights, she was always great backup and just support in general. Rest in Pixels, Doll. We truly didn't deserve you. Going into the next battle against Larry with only 5 teammates is definitely not ideal, but it had to be done. This one's for you, Doll. Larry leads with Tropius, who I know will set up the sun, allowing us to essentially get a free hit off. Its Solar Beam breaks Burlap's disguise on the next turn, which is fine. We get another hit off, and the next Solar Beam does way less damage than expected, letting us stall out the sun a little bit with Phantom Force before KOing the Tropius. Larry also seems to have a bird that has risen from the dead though, as he sends out Staraptor, lowering our attack with Intimidate, which I don't love. There's also no shot we outspeed here, so I bring in Nightmare, who immediately gets crit with a Brave Bird. The Rocky Helmet and recoil damage gets it down to almost half of its health, but this thing has a super effective move against us, so I switch Nightmare right back out into Necromancer, who is immune to a predicted close combat. It then Brave Birds us again, putting Necromancer in the red, but thanks to recoil damage, Dark Pulse is able to send it to the grave for good this time. Next is Altaria, and I figure I gotta switch out, so I bring Fuegos in, who eats a flamethrower like it's nothing. Dragon Pulse already does like no damage, and I once again find myself snarling to lower its special attack. We miss the second Snarl, so I go for Lick in hopes of getting a paralysis, but nope, back to Snarl it is. We get it down to -3, and since it keeps going for Dragon Pulse, I just switch into Burlap, who's immune, and we're able to outspeed with a Shadow Claw to take it down. Next is Oricorio, who I know is gonna go for Teeter Dance, and in hindsight, I should have put the Person Berry on Carver, since that's who I send in, and that's who gets confused. We hit a Shadow Claw, then hit ourselves, and we're left with 22 HP in the tank. I go for Shadow Sneak, hoping for an easy KO, and thankfully, we managed to not hit ourselves again, so we take out the Oricorio. Last up is Flamigo. It has Scrappy, meaning that it can hit Ghost-type Pokemon with the close combat that it carries. But even still, I figured it was gonna go for a super effective Throat Chop, so I decided to switch into Nightmare. Larry terastallizes into Pure Flying, and my heart drops. It went for close combat. Left in a state of shock, I am forced to weigh my options. I have to select who is most capable, who I am most willing to let die, as though my teammates are nothing more than pawns in a chess game. I select Burlap, who has the most health out of the remaining 4. With Flamigo's defenses dropped, I pray for a critical Phantom Force, but that prayer is not realized, and I lose yet another teammate. Once again, Carver is left with the weight of avenging her fallen friends, as she Shadow Sneaks to KO the bird. I say goodbye to Burlap, who wasn't on the team for long, but carried his weight and more in the final stretch of battles. and Nightmare. Quite possibly my favorite out of the group, who was such a nightmare just to find and catch, who brought me so much stress and chaos and support and strength. He was worth all the effort it took to find him and more. Thank you, Nightmare. Rest in pixels to you both. I take a deep breath as I feel this might be the end, and I step forward to accept Hassel's invitation to battle. Fuegost, Carver, Necromancer. The first 3 Pokemon I set out on this journey with, and am now going to finish it with. I lead with Fuegost into Noivern, so it can't Super Fang me. I considered giving Fuegost the Covert Cloak to prevent flinches from Air Slash, but decided it would be more optimal to just give him leftovers and simply be lucky. We get hit with a Dragon Pulse first and deal a Snarl right back to lower its offenses. It Air Slashes, and my luck strategy pays off. We get another Snarl in, no flinches. It then misses its next Air Slash, and with it sitting at a comfortable -3, I feel it safe to switch into Carver, and it misses another Air Slash. We got a free switch in, and 1 Shadow Claw is enough to finish it off. Dragalge comes out, and I switch into Necromancer on a predicted Hydro Pump that ended up not mattering because it missed. Then we hit a Shadow Ball and got the Spadef drop. My luck strategy is really paying off. It's still a bit too early to tell, but maybe we can actually do this. I Dark Pulse, hoping for a flinch, and in hindsight, I probably should have just gone for the stab Shadow Ball again, but Necromancer hangs on at 34 HP. Then Haxorus comes out, and this thing knows Crunch, which is devastating to my entire team. I don't think we outspeed, and we definitely can't OHKO, which means that if we don't switch, Necromancer dies. But if we do switch, that death will just carry over to another teammate, so I'm left with a difficult decision. I decide that the best plan of action is to curse. If we go first, we faint ourselves, but at least it will guarantee the eventual demise of this axe-faced monster. But alas, the Haxorus hits first and takes out Necromancer with a crunch. For good this time. I don't think she's bouncing back from this one. I send out Fuegost, who lives a crunch and successfully paralyzes the Haxorus with Lick, allowing us to outspeed and KO on the next turn. Flapple is out next, and I decide to switch into Carver. It's risky, but I think it's the only way forward. And once again, we get so lucky with our switch-ins as Flapple misses its Dragon Rush, letting us on the field with no entry damage. I Shadow Claw hoping for a crit, which I don't get, as Flapple goes for a primitive Leech Seed, allowing us to take it out with no issue. Finally, Baxcalibur is up, and I have no clue what to do. Hassel's going to go for Glaive Rush. I don't think his AI will let him use anything else. And in hindsight, I should have gone for Shadow Sneak to guarantee some damage, but I thought we might outspeed, so I didn't, and Carver falls. This is the end. Necromancer, Carver, Fuegost. You did your best, and so did I. But it was never meant to be, was it? We were always on borrowed time, ever since the beginning. All I know is that it's been an honor fighting beside you, my spooky friends. This whole run. What was it for? Fuegost. Fuegost. Look at me. Fuegost. Please look at me.